this is my audience. And my name is Kaylee Wackerman. I will be doing a speech on why special needs pets deserve a good home too. I'll be using my speaking outline as my reference throughout my speech. Why should we consider having special needs pets as our day-to-day pets at home is because most of the time when you come in contact with a special needs pet, it's because they were either abandoned or forgotten about by their family due to expenses on their medication or treatments that they may need. Most of the time when you come in contact with a baby special needs pet, depending on the situation, the veterinarian may recommend euthanasia, but there are other routes that you can take before euthanizing, depending on the situation, obviously. Special needs pets usually get forgotten about because people don't really think that special needs pets need to live as long as regular pets because they feel like the disability may hinder their quality of life, but there's plenty of medications and treatments that you can do to help with the quality of life of this pet. In this speech, I'll be talking about the different disabilities that pets may have or special needs that they may have. Some of them, by Sassafras Lowry has stated, would be animals with only 3 limbs, meaning they lost a limb due to an accident or having cancer in the limb, because that requires them to become a tripod, which hinders their mobility a little bit. They usually do fine after the surgery, but the recovery time for the surgery of the amputation is a while, and it takes them a while to relearn how to walk properly because they don't have that limb to assist them anymore. Blind pets are also a common disability in pets. Some dogs and cats can get glaucoma, and glaucoma requires the pet to need their eye removed eventually because it leads to them going blind and needing their eyeball removed because it can become infectious. They usually get it in one eye and then the other eye later on, but sometimes there's a case where it can happen in both eyes at once. Usually by the end of it, they'll have no eyes, which is fine. They can still live perfectly fine. You just have to accommodate your home a little bit differently so that they know what they're going to be moving around in, and make sure there's no clutter or anything like that that they can trip over since they no longer have their eyesight. Deaf pets is another disability that you will notice in animals. They lose their hearing, or sometimes they're born without hearing, which requires them to need more care because if they can't hear you or they can't hear what's going on outside, if they happen to get out of the house and they get hit by a car, it's because they can't hear the car. Or if they can't hear you and they're lost, you have to go find them throughout the house because they don't really know what's going on because they can't hear. Pets who have behavioral issues like anxiety is also a issue that most owners can't tolerate, because if your pet has anxiety or separation anxiety, they'll chew up stuff in the house because they don't know what else to do to calm themselves down. They get really stressed out because they don't know what's going on. They think you left them or abandoned them. Another disability that's common in pets is seizures. Seizures can be controlled by multiple different medications, to be honest. A couple of them would be Keppra, also known as levetiracetam, or phenobarbital. I know this because I work in an animal hospital, so I deal with these medications on a daily basis. Some owners don't really feel like they have the time or care to be able to care for these pets because they're seizing so much and they sometimes don't have the expenses to pay for the medication. But that's why expenses is a huge factor on if you should adopt this pet. If you think that you are financially able to do it, then by all means go for it. But if you shouldn't have those finances, then you shouldn't have the pet because that's just hindering their quality of life altogether. According to Ryan Lira, BSc DVM, and Robin Downey, DVM CVPP DAAPM, paralysis is another disability that patients deal with. This can happen because of neurological issues or issues by getting hit by a car or whatever the case may be. They get hurt and then they lose mobility in their back legs or all of their legs. These can also be treated by medications and laser therapy. I know this because of the animal hospital that I work in. Or pets like my dog. She's not listed on any of these because it's very not likely to have one of these pets survive. But she has a cleft lip and a cleft palate. The veterinary clinic that delivered her for us told us that she wouldn't make it past 3 days. And she's now 5 years old, so she proved that veterinary clinic wrong. how to care for these animals. According to Eric M., it's best to sit down and really think about your financial stability on if you should be able to afford to care for these pets. If you don't have the money or the finances or the care or the time to care for these pets, then it really shouldn't be the best option for you. Most of these pets do require a lot of care and time. Like my dog, it took us every 2 hours to tube feed her to keep her stable and alive. You may need to adjust some things in your home. According to Jennifer Pratt, you can get carpets or rugs to help with pets that are arthritic, because if they're arthritic, then their joints and their muscles don't work as well, and their feet will slip out from underneath them on hardwood floor. You could also get ramps to assist them onto furniture, like beds, couches, if you allow them on your couches. My French Bulldog has a cleft palate and a cleft lip. We were told that she wouldn't make it past 3 days. She's now 5. It tends to shock all of the veterinarians at the clinic that I work at that she's lived this long. The animal hospital, West Russell Animal Hospital, recommended euthanasia the day she was born, and they actually told us that she was deceased. And about 45 minutes later, they brought her back and said that she made a squeaking sound and asked us if we wanted to keep her alive or euthanize her. They recommended euthanasia because it's very hard to keep them alive. Fortunately for me, my mom is a retired veterinary technician, so she knew how to tube feed properly to make sure that the tube went into the dog's stomach instead of into her lungs. And we had to get special formula to make sure that she was getting the nutrients that she needed. French Bulldog puppies already require a lot of care and necessities to keep them healthy and alive when they're first born. We rescued her mom from overseas, and she was pregnant when we rescued her. We weren't knowledgeable of that. We just thought we were rescuing her, and that just meant that we needed to get incubators and oxygen tanks to help her make sure that her puppies stay warm, because unfortunately French Bulldogs can't control their body temperatures like normal dogs do, so they need this extra assistance to keep them healthy and warm and alive. Benefits of owning a special needs pet: you'll find yourself feeling more rewarded at the end of it because you saved this pet from getting euthanized or from struggling with these issues on their own scared in a shelter. Like, that's just a reward within itself. You gave a pet a loving home. You made them feel happy and secure. You provided them with the utmost care and love that they could ever ask for. According to Mark Asher, whatever disabled pet lacks can be made up with the love in their heart, and that shows with my dog. For example, she's the happiest little girl I've ever seen in my entire life, and the nicest dog I've ever met. Everybody thinks she's a miracle because she made it past the 3-day max that they gave her. She's now 5. And why we should adopt these pets is because most of the time they get abandoned, and that's not fair to them. Just because they have a disability does not mean that they should be abandoned and left behind. So it's best to give them that second chance and make sure that they are able to have a loving family and the best quality of life that they can receive. There are many reasons why you should consider a special need pet for your companion at home, and those are just some of them. These pets deserve to have the best life possible, and people can give that to them. They just have to take the time and effort to put into those pets. It might be a lot of work, but let me tell you, it's very rewarding at the end. Thank you.